Greetings, fellow legends. Tonight I have for you a video to show off the monk. I have gone ahead and gotten all of my champions to be about level 11, and I've gone ahead and also spent the time to, just over a number of playthroughs, get some pretty good equipment and make sure that everything's kind of filled out in terms of inventory items so that I can show, the most impressive that a character can be without excessive effort. And I also want to make sure to show off all of the skills and work that I've done because there's a patch that's coming through, supposedly going to be the final patch for the beta, which probably means that they're getting ready to, announce actually releasing the damn game, because it's ready, folks. Don't let them tell you otherwise. It's ready. And I can't wait anymore. So, anyways, I'm going to go through and show off some skills, and then I'm going to go through and sort of show him fighting and up against the Skeleton King. So first thing I want to do is actually show off all three of his spirit generators. The first spirit generator you get is Lightning Fist. 1, 2, boom. Now all of these, even though it doesn't really say it, actually deals a small area of effect in front of you, and you can sometimes catch like 1 or 2 enemies at most in it. It generates 6 spirit per attack. Which is pretty much the same as anything else. This is the one you start off with. I don't really think it's all that special. And it deals weapon damage as lightning. So, whatever. However, this is Deadly Reach. I love this one. 1, 2, boom. And even the first one, that one actually does reach out a lot farther than it looks like. It reaches as far out as the third one. It's a very impressive looking attack. Actually does about the same as the Thunder. And then Crippling Wave is the final spirit generator I have access to right now, which is very pretty. The primary purpose of this is that it slows down their movement and attack speed, which is one of the reasons that I have it set up as my primary thing. It also does 360-degree damage with that final strike, unlike the other two, which is another reason that I use it. So, moving on, grab these. Blinding Flash isn't going to really show very much, I'm sorry. It's just the way it goes. Sorry, that was actually Lashing Tail Kick. Ooh, I'm gonna have to generate mana. I can't show that many of each one. Anyways, it blinds people. They have a 30% chance to miss. Blah, 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 blah. And that's it. That's all there is to it. There's Blinding Flash, Breath of Heaven, and Dashing Strike. Breath of Heaven is simply a heal. It heals everybody within range. The Paladin was replaced by the Monk, if you didn't already know that, and you played the second Diablo, I should say. Heal. That's it. Now, of course, I've run out of Spirit, so I'm going to have to go generate some real quick. Slip out through here. Anything I hit is going to be pretty much instantly destroyed by this guy. It's interesting. You can see that he has his Diablo equipped. And that's the name of the staff that he's wielding.
This is a dismal sight.
But he doesn't really use it. Like when I use this strike, he's using his fists. Or actually, maybe he is using the staff. It looks like the staff sort of teleports to his back and then pops into his hands again. Anyways, Dashing Strike is a spirit ability. It will let you pass through some things. Oh, in case you're wondering about this, his Diablo has some poison effects on it. But Dashing Strike allows me, like I said, to sort of dash forward, hit something.
There must be a nest nearby.
Spirit. Alright, now I have enough spirit generated to show you Cyclone Strike. I love this one because it deals 275% of weapon damage, and I love more weapon damage. Incidentally, I believe Arcane Orb does 250, and I know that Haunt does 250% as well. So this makes it one of the most damaging effects that I've seen so far in the game. To show off Cyclone Strike most effectively, I'm hoping I can find a little mob. You spin around in a circle, and it causes all the enemies nearby to be drawn into you and dealt damage. So watch this. And most of them are dead, and he somehow survived. And that's Cyclone Strike. It uses up a lot of Spirit, and Spirit does not regenerate. It's actually regenerating right now very slowly because I have one ability on an item that allows it to do so. But Spirit is also a set value in that it can't be increased by levels, unlike the Witch Doctor's mana. It can be increased by a point or two from some items, but it's not going to be enough to really, show it off, or to improve it excessively. And all of these different abilities are going to sort of account for that in your Spirit usage. Now, there's two mantras that are available. Mantra of Retribution and Mantra of Evasion. I can't show you the other ones. One is Healing, one is Conviction. I'll just go off and just sort of flip through these real quick so that you can pause and see each one. And then there's additional Spirit generators. They all generate 6 Spirit per attack. Really wish I was able to see those, but it's so hard to level people up once you hit level 9.
I have the crown.
And supposedly the cap is 20. I can't imagine obsessively playing this enough to get it to 20 and actually be able to go through with it. But here's the Mantra of Evasion. Doesn't really show a lot. It does exactly what you expect it to do. All of the mantras give the person who casts them a little bonus when they first go off, and it's only for a few seconds, but they affect all your party members. Or at least all the people that are nearby when you cast it. So I'm going to go back on out here and generate a little more Spirit, and then I'm going to go off after the Skeleton King once I won't have to change my abilities around. Bam, bam, bam. Now, one of the other changes that they were talking about doing, and I've forgotten to mention it up until now, we have this whole character sheet panel info, and I think that the layout is really great. Apparently Blizzard does not. Their plan is to see if they can't compress all of this into somehow fit in here. Now, they are going to be taking out the Nephilim Cube and the Cauldron of Jordan because they felt that people weren't using the Stone of Recall because there was no real reason to go back to town. And that's absolutely true. There wasn't a reason to go back to town. So they're taking out these two abilities after all, and then all of your scrap generation is going to be done with the blacksmith.
By my honor.
So, let's see here, hit a few of these guys. So one of the other abilities that I have available, I'll set off, this is the Mantra of Retribution. It's kind of neat looking, it's very subtle. This is Sanctuary. Creates this very small area, enemies can't go inside of it, but you can be safe in here, or somebody else can be safe in here for a short period of time. I think the real purpose of it is to, if I'm surrounded by a mob and they're really closing in on me and they're all too close,
I must wait to use
I can
that
go
ability.
and fire off the inner sanctuary, and it will push everybody back. No one will be able to reach you with melee abilities, and then you can use a minor potion of health and guzzle that down, and you'll have your healing. And a short respite for some regeneration of ability power, or whatever it is you're using. So now that I've done that, I think I've shown you all the abilities. So I'm going to pop back to town, set myself up in my favorite set of monk skills. His later skills are a lot cooler than the abilities that you get early on. Like, I don't really like Dashing Strike, I don't really like Lashing Tail Strike. Yeah, it does a decent amount of damage, but, eh. So, what I really want to do... What do I really want to do? Yeah. And then Mantra... yes, okay. So this is more or less how I want to be set up. So I'm going to head over... I got the quest from Deckard, so I can go to the Cathedral Garden. The monk is a lot more about doing his damage pretty directly. He's kind of bursty in that every hit that he does is a pretty big burst of damage. He doesn't have the most damage of any of the champions that I've put together so far. So far, the Barbarian has surpassed everybody else. He has like 68 damage per second just because he's wielding 2 different weapons. And it's really quite impressive. I don't know if I'm going to do him next. I'm still deciding. But anyways, let me also Set my scroll of companion here. Another little snake. Ooh, a treasure goblin. For some reason, they're temporarily immune to mana while they run around a little bit. I'm not quite sure why that is. But eventually, now, yep, there it goes. After about 4 hits, you can sort of deal real damage to him and have a chance to kill him. Of course, if you're not careful, he'll also escape if he can run far enough ahead of you. Break the chair. You know, like I said, had also mentioned, the paladin, in addition to being sort of bursty damage, is meant to replace the paladin. The monk is meant to replace the paladin. And to that aim, I think that if I was playing monk in a multiplayer game, I would probably have one agreed upon aura, maybe retribution, probably not evasion because it has such a low percentage chance to go off. This one just says 40% of the damage you dealt is dealt back to them. It never gets any higher, but at least it's consistent. You know what I mean? It's not a chance. So I would probably argue for that, and I'd have my one available because you can't stack mantras. You can just have the one, and that's all you get. If I tried to activate evasion, it would simply override this one. And they last for about 2 minutes, which I think is a pretty decent amount of time. Oh, you see that? That's from Plague. It's one of the champion monster abilities. It lasts for a while, and it just does poison damage in that area. It was around... There it is again. Oh, let me show you something. Oh, it's too late. Anyways, when you're standing in it, it shows a little icon over here indicating the type of negative effect that affects you. And you can see I have loyalty from the Templar is providing that, and I have Mantra of Retribution. Note that there's nothing for Scroll of Companion. I have no idea how much longer it's going to last. I estimate it lasts about 2 minutes because that's what everything lasts. But, Cyclone. But I don't know. I have no idea how long the Companion lasts. And I really think if you're going to go ahead and put all these lovely little toolbar, you know, pieces of info in here, just put the companion in too. How hard is that? Thank you. Love Alex. Boom, boom. Incidentally, one of the other things that I kind of wish I was on the surface for now. Anyways, when you have attacks as a melee character, actually even as a wizard or less... Okay. All attacks have a hidden factor.
Why?
Hold on.
My apologies. It pains me to see such a holy place desecrated and in ruins.
As it pains me, but we will cleanse it.
He sounds Russian for some reason, I don't know why. Anyways, what I was trying to say is that all attacks have a hidden stat, which doesn't have a real effect on the game, called Force. And all that means is that if I hit someone with this attack, how far is it going to knock back the enemy? For the monk, he has the second most force in the game. I think he's pretty much tied with the demon assassin from the abilities that I've seen, in his ability to send bodies and objects flying all over the place. The highest force generator is the barbarian. I don't think that's a huge surprise. I think the third... wow, did you see how I just annihilated that entire mob? The third is the wizard, and the least force generation is definitely the monk. Or, sorry, not the monk, the witch doctor. The witch doctor has pretty much no ability to knock stuff around at all. They just die over time. Plague. Oh, here's the plague I was talking about. You're slowly taking damage over time. And, you know, it doesn't even say that it's plague, but it points it out on the status bar, and it goes away as soon as it's gone. Ooh. Wow, look at that. That's just 25% attack speed increase. Attack speed in this game is amazing. The Barbarian actually has a skill called Frenzy, which is one of his Fury generators. And it applies a little status effect that lasts for, I don't know, like 3 seconds. And it says your attack speed has been increased by 30%? Something like that. It can go all the way up to 75%. It stacks 5 times, so... Anyways, he can increase it a lot. Now, he has... I found that it's not really as effective as going up against... Oh, wow, I've actually looped around in my not paying attention. Sorry. The Barbarian has some an attack, I think it's called Cleave, where he does a big swing in front of him and it's kind of an area attack. And I find that one of those will wipe out a pretty decent number of monsters at a time, rather than sitting there trying to hit them one after one with Frenzy. So I definitely have Frenzy on my status bar if I was going to go fight a boss, so that I could really put out huge damage per second. But I probably... Ooh, that was interesting. I got caught by the little pillar and didn't get drawn forward. But I probably wouldn't use it for one-on-one, and that's kind of one of the cool things I have to say. There's stuff in here for fighting bosses, and then there's definitely stuff for fighting mobs. And so these area of effect things are definitely good for mobs, like I'm using them. The far reach, however, is going to be a lot more effective against a boss when I can hit him at a bit of a distance, and the Templar will be up there tanking all those hits. Of course, if I'm playing multiplayer, it'll be someone else, hopefully, up there tanking all those hits. Unless I have to play with, like, Pussy, Witch Doctor, or Wizard, and they're going to expect me to take them all. Annihilate these guys.
Maintain
Oh, this is going to be great for Cyclone Strike. Watch this.
I am now. Back to my mission.
Those two got caught on this guy, or they would have gotten annihilated by my my little wave of
you will know
cyclone energy, whatever it is.
Tell me, what brought you to this infernal place?
I must destroy the Skeleton King.
Then our aims align.
Why have you come here, brother?
One of our number has forsaken his vows and joined the cultists dragged me past this glowing pit. What made it?
I've come here to find out.
You know, one of the things that people have commented on, I'm going to comment on it again,
He's free! Do not let him in!
is that all these guys have been affected by poison, because my weapon does poison damage. Poison really shouldn't affect a skeleton, and I believe I read from Blizzard a little tiny explanation that the poison that is dealt as damage isn't just,
warrior of the
the poison that we're used to, where it damages living cells. It's supposedly a spiritual poison to finally put an end to all of the, complaints about poison dealing damage to undead enemies.
Let us fight together.
Evil cowers at the sight of just one Templar. 2 will bring it to its knees.
One of the other things I want to add is I know that it can be difficult to hear me. I've been sick with stress this past week, and I can't necessarily speak up all that much more. So I hope you can hear me. I have, and just so you can see, have the sound, the master volume at 20%, so that it would be a lot easier for you to hear me. Blizzard games are really freaking loud. I never have them at 100%. I don't know why it gets that loud. I don't know who's playing, StarCraft 2 near a construction zone and really needs to have the volume that high that they can hear it, but whatever. Boom. And there's the door down there, which means I'm super
magic
close.
bars our way, but the will of a Templar is stronger.
While it still exists, I love this little detail tab here. Ooh, hold on. I hope now you can see why that's one of my favorite skills. Every time you get something new in your inventory, it puts these little boxes around it until you just mouse over it. I find it really ridiculously annoying, but anyways. I love this details tab. It shows so much information, and I just love it. And it also shows increased magic and gold find as a result of the shrine that I have just activated. Clearly some of the equipment that I'm already wearing produces gold and magic find, but
You're a Templar, John Dar.
you can get really rather rich by finding those, because normally Oh, he's dead.
Please forgive
Incidentally,
me.
Cyclone
My
Strike
vision
takes
was
so much
clouded by the
spirit
Copper's
energy that you can
evil
really
magic.
just do 2 of them, and that's
Betrayal
it.
can never
So
be
having it on the right
forgiven.
mouse button, in truth, probably isn't necessarily the best idea, because sometimes
Thank
when
you
I'm
for
clicking
your
really
aid.
fast, I'll
I
accidentally
will
click
go
that
with
button
you on your
too.
hunt for the skeleton killer. But
that
there
can be a
is
pain in
what
the
we
butt.
then onward.
And now he disappears. And I go forth. He has a mustache and a beard. His hat looks like a book, too. Anyways. I love detail. Detail's so cool. Oh, my little companion's gone. Another snake. Ugh, snakes show up all the time. I want the pig, damn it. Bring me the pig. Huh, he didn't get drawn towards me. Wait, empty equipment slot. There shouldn't be anything that I've picked up that I could possibly not have in a... Ooh! That's pretty cool. That's really quite cool. Yeah, everything I have has a slot. Actually, let me do something real quick. What does he have? 10.2? Yeah, no, he's fine. I can't hand over two-handed weapons because he has the shield, so he can only hold on to one-handed weapons. Another two-handed sword. Never seen so many. These guys generate imps, or fiends, I should say, which are basically imps, because they have the same character model.
Not enough spirit.
Oh. That's a shame. I was hoping I could do like one Cyclone Strike and destroy them all and be super cool, but I didn't have enough spirit. So sad. And now I have no spirit energy again. Moving right along. Ooh. Killed a bunch of monsters there. Get a teeny little bonus for killing them with dungeon traps. Oh, incidentally, in case you're wondering, the Fallen have not, as far as I'm aware, been taken. Holy crap, that's a lot. And they all kind of died at once. It was pretty funny. The Fallen have not been taken out of this game. I think they appear a little further along in Act 1. They're actually a bit tougher enemies than in past. I know on the Diablo 3 website that they're still featured as artwork, and there's like a little bit of lore about them, so I'm pretty sure they're still in the game somewhere. They're just not in the beta. So don't worry, the Fallen are pretty funny. I think most of the enemies that had appeared before are going to appear again, especially those really cool mummy type things that you face. Ooh, attack rate. Oh, I only got one of them. Oh well. So it clearly doesn't cover the entire screen with pull, as it were. Let me just check something real quick. 6 versus 30. Damn.
Ah, good.
That was cool. Yeah, that's what I was going for. More enemies would be better, but worked out. Oh, these things. Oh, look at the little giblets that flew off. That's kind of sad. Because they look a little bit like kids running around. Evil naked children as well. Oh, this is clearly not the way I need to go. So, check my map real quick. Yeah, it's unlikely to be here. It's probably going to be down that way.
But I've lost track.
one of the funniest times, you know, they say that sort of stuff randomly, and at one point I had just picked him up, and we went off, we killed 3 skeletons, and then he said, tried to count how many we've killed, and I've lost track. And I thought that was very amusing. Poor timing,
Not enough.
very amusing. Incidentally, one of the things I'd like to point out, in case you're curious, with this crippling wave... What? Leave me alone. Shh. Anyways, with this crippling wave, it says 6 spirit per attack. Now, when they say 6 spirit per attack, it's 6 spirit per attack that connects with an enemy, not an object. And it doesn't matter how many enemies you hit with that attack. So, this attack, the lightning attack to a lesser extent, the far reach attack, I mean, you can hit as many enemies as you want as long as there's an enemy, and it will generate 6 spirit. And that's kind of obnoxious. If you're a barbarian and you hit something with a fury generating attack, I'm pretty sure it's actually per enemy, but we'll find out when I do the barbarian video. And in that respect, generation of ability power to use for your attacks is kind of obnoxious. Because when you're fighting a mob of monsters, and your ability uses half of your ability power to set off, you most need it then. And, you know, if you decimate portions of the mob and there's still more coming and you need more spirit, you're just not going to have it. And that's a pain in the butt.
Feel the wrath of Yitar.
Yitar is his husband. Is this the way down? No. Alright, we're gonna head out of there, because that's, once again, not the right way. It could be up there, too. This is obnoxious. La 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 da 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 da. Never saw the attack coming. Huh. Interesting, I'm not quite sure if I've ever seen that dungeon structure before. And there's more on a lower area. Odd. Whatever, I'm not gonna go chase all those little shitty things. If they want to come get slaughtered, that would be business. See? You know, I have a sneaking suspicion that it's up this... Nope. Damn you, dungeon. Watch the stairs down to the next area be, like, directly next to the entrance to this level. I have rarely had so much difficulty finding where I needed to go. On the plus side, I'm gaining a fair bit of experience. Maybe you guys will actually see me hit level 12 or something. That's right. And... all dead. Oh no, mostly dead. I wonder why the bats didn't get drawn in. I think it's cool that enemies have different ways of making enemies now, instead of just being there, popping up from the ground, or coming up from a barrel destruction, whatever. Of course, the question is, were they all waiting on a ledge out there? They, like, fall from all the way down below? Or, sorry, not fall, climb from all the way down below, somehow knowing I was up here, making it in time to give me a hard time? Too much. Okay, that's getting really obnoxious. Excuse me for 1 second. Every single item slot is accounted for. Don't listen to that bullshit. Alright, I'm gonna go back this way. I'm just gonna explore a little around the entrance, make sure it's not down branching path off to the right-ish. probably should have had this active. Incidentally, my record of number of monsters killed and sort of that experience bonus thing was 41 across a number of characters. I think I did it with the wizard by disintegrating a huge mob. Oh, I should have known it wasn't going to be here. Lame. Alright, let me see. I guess it has to be right there. And we're walking. And we're walking. Oh, one of the other things I mentioned in previous videos, and the reason I'm repeating it is, if you love the monk, you hate every other character, and the only video that you plan on watching is the monk, I want you to try to get, you know, most of the information that I have to offer. As far as the patch is concerned, and actually, let me kill these guys. Oh, okay, there's just one. Anyways, kill him. So the plan that they sort of have is they want to try to combine this hero sheet with this inventory sheet, so you have just one. I'm not quite sure why they need to do that, because unless this is going to cover half the screen, then you know, why combine them? It's nice to have all this detail over here, in my opinion. It's nice to have this details tab that I can open up and see all this stuff. Now, if they just want to have like condensed information and then have a full sheet, I'm fine with that. But if they're going to replace this and remove it all together and just have it over here, fuck that shit. Anyways, part of the reason I mentioned all this was because this is interesting. Let me check my map for a second. Huh. What the hell is this? Huh. This is a weird random dungeon. Like, the dungeons are mostly random. Like, they have structures like this structure and that structure, and they just kind of combine them in different ways. There. But I've never seen one quite laid out like this. It's odd. Anyways, I'm sorry. They're combining the tabs together, or at least that's what it sounds like, and I think that's kind of obnoxious. I really appreciate having that detailed info, and I just think that not being able to get that far into it is going to sort of take away from some of the other benefits, because you'll get something from a shrine and not know how much magic find you have if you don't have that kind of detailed information. And not knowing how much magic find you had and having to figure it out by default every single time you got a new object is one of the more obnoxious things about Diablo 2. Oh, I remember one of the other things I wanted to mention. They are taking out the Nephilim Cube, and this is actually the Cauldron of Jordan. You can click on this, click on an object in your inventory, and it just goes ahead and turns that object into money directly. Exactly what you would get from a store. And it's, you know, kind of useful. You can clear out your inventory by using it like that. Well, what they found was that no one was using the Stone of Recall anymore. There kind of wasn't a reason to use it, because there was no need to return to town. If you could just break down all of your objects, and they take up, you know, just one slot each, and then you can fill your inventory again, why go back to town? And I do kind of agree with that. I can understand them sort of wanting town to be a central part of that, and having the different vendors, you know, mean something, as it were. That's a little beetle, by the way. But at the same time, one of the other changes they're making to the salvage system is that they want to make all of the common items not salvageable. And the reason that they are salvageable right now is you have common scrap, and that's a really big component in almost anything that you make. And actually, I think it's a component in everything you make that I've seen. And it actually gave common drops a purpose. It meant that, but now it means that common drops don't have a purpose. And if I get a two-handed sword of crappy quality that drops in the ground, I'm essentially being cheated out of the drop. And I think that's not cool. it makes other meaningful drops, such as you know, rares, and hell, now in this case, even magic falls into the category of a meaningful drop.
We shall put you.
Blah blah blah. Punch, punch. Ooh, perfect opportunity to. Oh, it actually dealt damage to the pillar. I guess I was so close that the resulting explosion from the cyclone finished it off. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm so easily distracted. Right, so now that, you know, you're essentially being cheated out of these drops, it also means that, you know, the magical items are going to be needing to be consumed to be turned into common scrap. So you're going to essentially be buying out people's inventory and spending even more money just to get common scrap. Now, I haven't seen any merchants actually sell common scrap itself, and the plan is that without the cube, that you're going to get that scrap by going to the blacksmith and having him do it to all the stuff.
Pallid malaise has fallen over the manor.
Have him scrap everything that you own, and that's your reason to sort of return to town. And you really do want to build up just shit tons of scrap, because it can often be quite a bit to, you know, get shoulders and a hat, and, you know, the latest armor. And one of the interesting things about the blacksmith is that as you give him those pages of training, even the stuff that he already has available gets a little bit better. Like, one of the things I noticed is that I made this a while ago, this magic armor. It's 30, but now any magic armor he makes is actually 33. And I'm going to pop back to town for just a moment because I have 2 manuals of training, and it might actually cause him to level up. Neat, huh? Huh? Yeah, that's the shit. Let's see here, and then craft, train him again. Now, obviously, it only does that, you know, when he reaches the end of that. But anyways, what else did we get? New band, new things of those, new boots. Those I already had available. Mojo. Oh, cool. What the hell is that? Is that like a snake? Interesting. Oh man, that's a shame I'm never going to be able to see it on the character. Nodachi. Nodachi is cool. And these various levels of wand. And aside from the mojo, what else did I get? I don't know. Maybe it's just a new bow. Oh. Incidentally, that brings me to something else. I had said earlier that you don't have any issues with repair. Oops. In the beta, and that's not true. Apparently, it's just up until a certain point you don't have to worry about repair, and it's just so you can get a kind of a nest egg going of you know, money to set aside and carry around with you. You don't have to put it in the bank anymore. In fact, there's no way to put it in the bank anymore. At some point, they're going to start taking money off of you for death, like they did before. Probably experience too.
Never defeat me.
But I have to say, normal, in comparison to normal for the other game, is actually really rather forgiving. A lot of these enemies don't directly attack you. They just kind of exist and wander around and occasionally attack you. See? I'm not actually being attacked, I'm just following you. Alright, I'm gonna get this moving. I took so much time getting here. Stupid Skeleton King and his amazingly labyrinthine jizzbag, whatever. Oh. that's going to make a big difference. A big difference, because he does a lot of damage. Probably going to do more to that guy than to me, because I have much more armor. As you can see, it takes a lot longer for the monk to sort of get through this. He's so much more dependent on his weapon. His skills don't really have... Like, this does 275, but I can only use it twice. Oops. There we go. Such a drama queen. Anyways, that was the monk. I hope that you guys appreciated the viewing. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Please like my video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe. I also do League of Legends things. You just randomly died. I do League of Legends videos as well, so you can check those out too. It's primarily what my channel is about, actually. And, you know, like that. Collecting gold. Thanks, everybody.